guys? Welcome back to Two Dudes in a Six Pack. We're getting into another beer review, and I figured since we're not really allowed to travel out of the country right now, it's a little trickier, especially if you want to get anywhere other than like Mexico. I figured let's take a deep dive into a different beer way out of there that we're probably none of us have ever had. I know I've never had before, but it is Myanmar lager beer, and I gotta admit, I can't read most of it. It's in whatever language Myanmar speaks. Myanmarese? Burmese? I don't know. Beautiful writing. Don't know what it says. And I like that they give you the ingredients right on the top. Water, malt, hops, yeast. Just right there. Boom. And it's brewed right in Yangon, Myanmar. I've never been to Myanmar. Hopefully once this lockdown comes and we can get vaccinated, which I have terrible needle anxiety, or medical needle anxiety. I have tattoos, but it freaks me out with needles. But I gotta do it. And the booster, because apparently there's 2 shots. But anyways, like to get over to Myanmar and have this in person. But until I can do that, we're gonna have this right here. Crack this open. And again, go to your local Asian market and you can find all sorts of just interesting beers that you can't find anywhere else. That's where I got this. This is a solid 5% ABV. And it is 1 pint, 5.6 fluid ounces, or 640 milliliters for all you guys watching in every other country besides the United States. And in case, here's the label. Ooh. I'm assuming those are the colors of the flag. But anyways, I just knelt in some mud. Or I hope it's mud. Could be duck shit. Cross your fingers for mud. Anyways, let's get into the review. That head dies quickly. Get into smell. You get that grain aroma right at the top. It has that kind of corn, slightly wet bread aroma. There's a little bit of like a lemon rind, but it's not super sour. There's maybe minute funk in the aroma, but not much. Some grass in there. You get a little bit more. There's a hint of like, you can smell some of that malt. But, I mean, it's got that kind of just cereal lager aroma to it. Ultra light funk. Minute, citrus. Maybe like a lemon rind. Very little. But, it tastes kind of like a cut the heat kind of lager. Where it's like 95 degrees and 95% humidity. And it doesn't even matter what you're drinking. You just got to drink it cold. That's kind of what this smells like it's going to be like. I have no problems with the aroma. I'm going to recommend on that. Let's get into taste. The funk is not there. It doesn't have the funk. It has kind of a charcoaly, nutty taste to it. It's almost pushing more towards your Vienna lager style versus, say, an Americanized a lager. It's got more of that kind of thing going with it. Maybe just a very subtle, like almost plain malt, if that makes any sense. Kind of like an oatmeal. It has a bit of like an oatmeal-y kind of malt taste to it. Like you could see some of these tasting notes get swapped over to an oatmeal stout, but this is in lager form. So it's got a bit of that. It's not heavy, which is good for when you're drinking it. It's gonna be balls hot, so you don't want anything crazy heavy. At least I don't. So I think that works. Most of the taste I'm getting is on the tip of my tongue. It's kind of a clean finish. There's not a whole lot going on after that. The stuff that is on the tip of my tongue is kind of that oatmeal-y malt taste to it. It's kind of like you made oatmeal and the top is dried, but the bottom is still kind of over saturated. That's kind of the taste that you get in with this. A bit of a kind of caramel taste to it, but that's minute. For the most part, that's that oatmeal-y malty thing. That's the majority of the taste. It's leaning towards a Vienna lager, but there's nothing too crazy going on with it. I don't want anything too crazy for this kind of style beer. I think it tastes fine. It's not blowing me away, but it tastes fine for when and where I'd be drinking it. So I'm gonna recommend it on taste. Next category is value for price. And yeah, this was pretty darn cheap. It was a couple bucks for this whole thing. When you're looking at that, it's a import from a place that you don't normally get imports from. It's the size is larger, and I mean the overall just general price I think is very fair for what you're paying, for what you're getting. So I'm going to recommend it on value for price. As for distinction, how distinct is it? There's nothing really that's all that distinctual that's separating it from a lot of the other kind of regional lagers from different countries you're going to get. It doesn't have the funkiness. I get the funk from a lot of other imports. Sometimes that's because, I think it's because they're in clear glasses and they've been sitting on the shelf for who knows how long. Some of the funk might be age-based with some of those other, the light and age-based. But this one, there's really nothing that different from others, which it does. You're not really looking for it to necessarily be all that different when you're in Myanmar and you get a Myanmar beer. You just want something that's kind of familiar and thirst quenching. For the most part, I mean, it is what it is. So I'm not going to really recommend it on distinction. It's not that different, minus not having the funk. Next category is drinkability, and yeah, really easy to drink. Real refreshing. That's one loud ass. But yeah, not a problem with drinking it. I think you're gonna want to drink it cold. Once it starts getting to room temperature, it might not. It'll be a little iffy. But I'm gonna recommend it on drinkability. And last category is would I buy it again? And when I'm in Myanmar, I will buy it. Other than that, I don't foresee me going out of my way to get this, just because there's not really a need for it. It is what it is. It's a location-based beer that you're going to get, but when you're not in that location, there's really no need to get it. So I'll give it a half for that reason. But anyways, that's my review of the Myanmar lager beer. It's kind of what you would hope for in Southeast Asian lager. It'll be good to cut the heat, cut the humidity. So if you've had this before, let me know in the comments. And if you'd like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And so for myself and for Myanmar lager beer, take it easy.